This guy used to be a top-tier assassin, but after getting stung by something he thought was just a bee, he woke up looking like a middle school kid. The organization immediately sent people to examine his condition. They discovered it wasn't an ordinary bee at all. It was some kind of bioengineered weapon. They were still trying to track down whoever created it. Luckily, aside from his body shrinking, everything else seemed perfectly normal. The problem was, how could a legendary assassin live trapped inside a child's body? Fortunately, his boss had the perfect mission for him. Considering Leo's new situation, he was assigned to escort the boss's daughter to middle school, while secretly scouting the area first. Leo was not happy about taking such a low-level assignment, but when his ex-wife, Emma, mentioned that the pay was extremely generous, he agreed immediately. Before heading to school, one of his subordinates gave him a pair of special glasses. They were equipped with a camera and a communicator. After all, mentally he was still an adult, and they worried he might not fit into a normal school environment. Leo didn't refuse, because the truth was, he had always struggled with social interaction. That was also why his ex-wife, Luna, divorced him in the first place. Now they only spoke when work required it. Emma was the head researcher of the organization. On the first day of the new semester, introducing yourself to the class was unavoidable. Everyone else gave normal introductions, but when it was Leo's turn, he simply said his name and turned around to leave. After his teammates reminded him about the assignment, he realized his mistake. Reluctantly, he walked back up to continue his introduction. After thinking for a moment, he said his hobby was losing weight, though he quickly corrected himself, saying he meant video games instead. Two girls in the class immediately labeled him as some kind of weird loner. Leo honestly didn't care, but the girls refused to let it go. Leo ignored their teasing and gradually became an outsider in class. Still, he somehow managed to adapt to school life. At first, he treated classes like a joke, but after a few lessons, he realized he actually enjoyed studying. He had dropped out back in elementary school, so this was his chance to experience the middle school life he had missed. One day after school, Leo suddenly heard a commotion. Some creep wearing a panda mask had knocked out the security guard and broken into the school. The two girls who used to mock Leo didn't run away. Instead, they started taking pictures, but when they realized the masked man was walking toward them, it was already too late to escape. Frozen in fear, all they could do was threaten him, saying the police would catch him. The panda masked man wasn't worried at all. He was completely confident he could get away. Leo witnessed the entire thing. He couldn't just stand by and do nothing, but he also couldn't risk exposing his identity, so he threw a box of chalk, smashing it to create a smoke screen. Then, he rushed forward and punched the panda guy in his stomach. The guy only foamed at the mouth but didn't go down. Leo immediately realized that shrinking had weakened his strength too. Right then, the creep pulled out a bomb. Leo quickly kicked him in a sensitive spot, then knocked the bomb into the air. Now he had a clear shot. He fired his handgun and detonated the bomb midair, but he had miscalculated one thing. The fight had taken too long. The smoke had already cleared. When the two girls saw Leo, they uncertainly called out his name. Leo claimed that some random stranger had stopped the criminal and he had only happened to pass by. Even so, the girls were convinced Leo had saved them. So the next day, while the rest of the class continued isolating Leo, the two girls shyly approached him and invited him into the class group chat. Leo casually accepted, but instantly regretted it. These middle schoolers were way too energetic. The non-stop flood of messages felt like a nuclear-level bombardment of notifications. For a middle-aged man who barely even knew how to use a smartphone, it was basically an information attack. The worst part was, he still didn't know how to turn on silent mode.